Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Allison. If you are new here, that's totally okay because I'm new here too. So go ahead and click subscribe and we will grow and learn to DIY together. Today we are going to do 4 super easy Dollar Tree DIY Christmas ornaments. Now I know it's getting close to Christmas, but if you haven't decorated your tree or think your tree might be missing a little something, these are definitely for you. They are kind of farmhouse inspired. About 75% of my Christmas tree is handmade ornaments, and these are 4 of my favorites, so I hope you guys will love them too. Let's go ahead and get started. The first DIY that we're going to do is this adorable little sled. Or sleigh, not sure still. And we are going to need some Dollar Tree craft sticks, the small ones. We're going to need some red and brown paint. I used some craft barrel, I think, and Waverly antique wax. And all we're going to do is take our small popsicle sticks. We're going to leave one end rounded, and then we're going to go ahead and cut to round the other end. So we're going to make them a little smaller than they would normally be. Of course, you can leave them the full length. They'll just be bigger. I have some of those as well. But we're just going to go ahead and cut a rounded end on the other side. And we're going to do that 5 times. If it's not perfect, no worries. Mine are not. You can use a sanding block to go ahead and sand them down a bit. Mine never come out perfect, but that's okay. That's part of the charm, right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and cut, like I said, 5 of those total for the small ones. And we're going to leave 2 long and not cut those at all. And then we're going to paint them, of course, in our craft barrel. This is flamenco red. I think you can use Waverly chalk paint and crimson, whatever you have. You can even mix the red paint with some water and kind of stain it. I love to do that. That's what I did for these. These 2 longer sticks, we used the Waverly antique wax and gave those a coat. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take the craft sticks and I'm going to arrange them in a pattern where the first and last sticks are taller than the other 2. We're going to go ahead and turn them over. These are not painted on this side because this is just for a demonstration. The sleds or sleighs, still don't know, leave it below, that I have on my tree are painted on both sides. So we're going to go ahead and arrange those how we want them to look. And we're going to take a scrap popsicle stick and glue it to the back. I did try to do this where I foolishly hot glued one stick to the other. It was a really mess. So I wouldn't advise that. So go ahead and just put a scrap stick on the back. If you have a little overhang like I do, no worries. Go ahead and trim that off. And there we have the base for the sled. Or the sleigh. Still really not sure. Leave it below. Let me know what you guys call it. I've called it both. I'm going to call it a sled from here on forward. That's just what I've always called it. Now we're going to take the 2 longer craft sticks and we're going to put a little glue in the middle of that. And we're just going to attach it to the base, leaving a little bit of overhang on both sides, just like a normal sleigh or sled would look. We're going to do that for both sides. Make sure that they are even. There we go. And I had a little bit of difficulty getting them to stick because I want them to be flush with the base. So I ended up taking it and running a bead of hot glue on the back where the longer craft sticks attach to the base, as you can see here. And we're just going to take a scrap popsicle stick and clean that mess up. And then we're just going to take our 5th red stick and attach that to the top with some overhang on both sides, of course. And that is basically our sled. Now we're going to add a little bit of oomph to it. We're going to take some jute twine and we are going to make the little rope that's usually attached to these so you can pull the sled behind you or the sleigh. And it's also going to serve as a hanger for the tree. Now you can lay them into the branches. You don't have to hang them up. Or you can use the jute twine to hang them from the branch. You'll see in a second how I decided to display mine. And I think it looks perfect. So you're just going to put those at the top where the small stick at the top and the longer craft sticks meet up. And you're going to let that dry, and then you're going to trim the excess off, and then we're going to go ahead and decorate it a little bit. I'm using, I think it's a frosted boxwood pick from the Dollar Tree and some red berries. You can use whatever you have. I love to pick up the greenery at the Dollar Tree because you can use them in so many different things. And as you can see, I only picked 2 little tiny pieces of this one branch off, and that's why I love the Dollar Tree. The greenery seems to be really hard to find. I was able to find it at the beginning of November, and they haven't had it since. So at my Dollar Tree anyway. And then we're just going to take one of these little red berries, and we're going to attach it as well. So just a pro tip at the Dollar Tree. If you find greenery and you think you might need it in your crafting, grab it, because it is, at least in mine, it goes so fast. And this is the finished product. Okay, next up here is my favorite of the 4. It is, I'm just going to call it a deer plaque. I saw a very small version of these at Walmart for the miniature trees, and I thought I can totally make that. So you can make these whatever size you want. I'm using some craft sticks from the Dollar Tree. I'm using the middle size. And we're going to go ahead and cut both of the rounded ends off. And we're going to repeat that process 7 times. And of course, we're going to paint them. I used a mixture of 2 different paints, and I'll show you that in a second, and added some water and kind of stained them. That's my favorite thing to do. And that's what the thing looks like. It's adorable. I love it. It is my absolute favorite ornament on my tree this year. I went for a more rustic farmhouse look. So I'm going to take 5 of those and put those together, and then I'm going to take the other 2, and I'm going to mark them so that they fit perfectly at both ends of the craft sticks. And then we're just going to hold them together and glue that top part down. And we're going to flip it over and do the same thing for the other end. If there's a little bit of a gap, no worries. When you put the top craft stick on, you can squeeze it together and hold it and get it to go together perfectly, as you can see me do. Perfection. And once you have these together, you're going to need 2 more popsicle sticks for the back. So we're going to use 9 total. Just to give it some stability, we're going to go ahead and trim up the edges if you need to. I was taking a look to see how I did the other one to make sure I did it correctly. And of course, you would want to paint the back and paint the 2 craft sticks that are going to go on the back. Again, this is just for a demonstration to show you how I did it. The actual ornaments that I have are already on my tree. It's up at the top. So we're just going to go ahead and cut those 2 other craft sticks, and we're just going to glue them down. You want to go ahead and glue down the bottom, and you want to leave the top to put the hanger in. I didn't do that. As you're going to see in a second, so I kind of abandoned the whole thing and just show you how I do it on the one that is already made. But we're going to go ahead and trim up the overhang. And we're also, for this project, going to need a printable of a deer head. I'm going to leave the one I use linked below. That's it. And I don't have any carbon paper, no worries. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cheater method, which I love. And I'm going to flip the image over and cover the entire back with pencil marks, just like this. Turn your pencil on the side and just go all over the image. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then you're going to lay it flat down on your project. It's a lot easier to see. I'm going to go ahead and say that ahead of time. It's a lot easier to see on a white background or even a black one. This was very hard to see, as you will be able to tell in a minute. I actually went over it twice. You don't see me going over it the second time, but it is very hard to see. And I'm pressed hard. There was plenty of pencil or lead on the back of the it's graphite now. There's plenty of graphite on the back of the image to transfer. It was just very difficult to see on the brown background, but you can kind of see on the left side pretty well. The right side was a challenge. So then you're just going to take a white paint marker. You can use white paint if you don't have a paint marker, and just go over the whole entire design and fill it in. The right side looks great. The left side, where it didn't really transfer that well, it's kind of a mess, but that's okay. That's part of the charm of it. You can make it look however perfect you want or however imperfect you want. So the left side looks crazy, but that's okay. We're going to just go with it. We're going to pretend like it looks just as great as the right side. So you're going to go all around the outline of the deer head, and then you're just going to go ahead and fill it in with the marker, or again, you can use white paint. I did both. I didn't like how streaky the paint marker looked, so I went in with some white paint, but you can leave it as imperfect as you want. You can even go ahead and take a little bit of a sanding block or sandpaper and go over it to make it look kind of old and worn, which I also love that look. And then you're just going to fill it all in, and it's going to come out so cute. And then you're just going to attach a piece of jute twine to the top and put a knot in it, and there you go. It is my absolute favorite ornament on my tree. I hope you like it as well. Okay, our next project is also a favorite of mine. It is the cutest little joy sign. It kind of looks like a palette almost. It's super easy. Again, you need some Dollar Tree craft sticks. You need some paint, some hot glue, some jute twine, and a little piece of garland. So we're going to start out by cutting all of the pieces of craft stick to the same size. You just want to cut one to the size that you want and go ahead and use that to mark the others. You are going to end up needing, I have 9 total pieces. And I'm going to use some brown oxide and some black paint mixed with a little bit of water to make kind of a stain. And that's what I'm going to use to get the color that I like. I like to use paint instead of stain because you can tweak it to make it exactly the color that you want. That is what I prefer to do. That is what I love to do. If you want to use stain to do this, you're more than welcome. I just like to work with this. It dries super quick and it's easy to use. You can get the perfect color for you. So what you're going to do at this point is go ahead and lay your craft sticks out. Again, paint both sides. This is just for a demonstration, though I did end up liking the one that I made to show you guys better than the ones that are on my tree. So you're just going to use the craft sticks that you have and lay them out, and you're going to go ahead and put the other 2 at the ends and mark them and cut them down. And you can do that twice, and then you're just going to go ahead and attach them to either side. Once you have that done, you're going to go ahead and take 2 more pieces of the craft sticks, cut them down, and do the same thing again on the back just to give it a little bit more stability. And I actually like that it makes it look a little bit more finished than it would without these. And then we're going to go ahead and cut some jute twine and make a hanger. Just whatever size hanger you want. We're going to take a white paint pen again, and we're going to go ahead and do the letters J and Y. And I'm just doing the little tiny skinny font, kind of like a Ray Dunn-esque look. And then we're going to go ahead and take our piece of garland that we trimmed down so much. This stuff is crazy messy. But we're going to go ahead, and I end up having to trim it some more. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use a bottle to kind of get the shape that we want, and we're going to shape it into a wreath. And you're just going to have to play with it and get it to the size you want. You'll probably have to continue to trim it all the way up until you hang it on your tree, but no worries. And you're going to take a little hot glue and put it between the O or the J and the Y, and you're going to form the word joy. Look how cute that is. And we're going to go ahead and trim it some more. Then we're going to take our jute twine and attach it to the back, and that's it. We're going to trim those pieces up and we'll be done. I love how this looks on the tree. All right, last but not least are these super cute jute twine Christmas trees. I have a brown version and a white. I ran out of white twine, so I'm going to show you the regular natural twine version. But on the tree, you're going to see the white version. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 3 popsicle sticks. I'm going to trim them ends off, the rounded ends off, and get them into the shape of a Christmas tree. And just hot glue them together. All right, next up, we're going to take a piece of jute twine and we are going to form a little bit of a hanger. We're just going to tie it into a knot and attach it with some hot glue at the top of the Christmas tree. The hardest part is doing the very top of the tree and the very bottom. The rest of it's very self-explanatory. Now, the very first time I made these, I put the hanger on the back. I don't know why. It looked unfinished. It looked a mess. So I decided to put it inside because you're going to wrap the twine around it. It's going to be super secure and it hides the entire hanger. So you're not going to see any of that, just the top part, which is great. So to start attaching the twine, what we're going to do is put a little bead of hot glue on the very top of the Christmas tree. And we're going to kind of use our fingers and spread apart the top of the hanger and put the end of that twine through that and kind of hold it down for a second to give it a little bit of a stick. Just like that. And then we're going to run a little bead of hot glue on one side of the tree at the top. And we are going to kind of have to pinch the twine together because it's not going to want to just stay there. We're going to kind of pinch it together to cover the entire top part. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to use a little bead of hot glue. And again, pinch it together. And then we're going to start wrapping. We're going to go all the way around the entire wooden structure part of the tree. Making sure you're keeping it tight, making sure you're keeping it really close to that, the top one. And then we're just going to add little bits of hot glue as we go. So we're going to wrap that twine all the way around so we get to the base of the tree. You're going to need a little bit more hot glue. You're going to want to use some pinch and hold method there too, but cover the whole thing. Then we're going to use a scrap popsicle stick, wrap twine around it just like I'm showing you. hook it to the bottom, hot glue it to the bottom of the base of the tree. And that's it, you guys. You can add a little bow, whatever you like. And it looks great on the tree. I hope you guys love these DIYs. I hope they gave you some inspiration for ornaments for your tree for maybe this year or next. If you guys like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I hope you'll subscribe. I can't wait to show you guys the next projects that I have in store. And until next time, have a great Christmas, guys.